so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality and the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness which creates and animates all things. After years of exploring this awe-inspiring truth on this podcast, I'm super excited to announce that we are now going even deeper down the rabbit hole on the new late-night style consciousness-elevating talk show called Optimistic, which features none other than you, the listeners. Optimistic is taped out of the epic spaceship-esque 8-bedroom property we call the Mystic Manor that myself and the rest of the Optimistic crew now navigate reality from in Venice Beach, California. And you are invited to come experience a Mystic Manor immersion week with us. During your week-long stay, you'll enjoy unique workshops, chef-prepared meals, one-on-one time coaching and consulting with me, and even co-creating magic with me as a guest on both Optimistic and an episode of the Positive Head podcast. When I started this, my aim with these immersive retreats was to facilitate the ultimate spiritual upgrade and tune-up, so to speak, for our guests while providing them with one of the most memorable experiences of their lives. And I'm happy to say that as of this recording, every guest at the end of their trip so far has told me that they have had a profound and transformational experience at the Mystic Manor and that they definitely want to come back. All that being said, we only have a limited number of spots available between now and next July. And as of this recording, about half of those spots are already filled. So if there's any part of you that is screaming, yes, I want to come, I feel like I need to be there, go now and book a slot with me to discuss how we can put our heads together and make it happen at calendly.com/talkwithbrandon. I know for some people, there is also that little voice in their head saying, why not? I can't get off work. I can't afford it, and on and on and on. But, really, Henry Ford, I think, said it best. Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. And I'm confident that where there's a will, there's a way. And I'm personally committed to doing everything in my power, including discounts and payment plans, to get you here if it is something that truly feels like a huge yes for you energetically and like you're meant to be here. Once again, the link to book time to discuss with me is calendly.com/talkwithbrandon. That's spelled calendly.com/talkwithbrandon. All one word, of course. And book in some time and look forward to seeing you soon here at the Mystic Manor.
All right, all you positive heads, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have a lot on my mind today. There's been so many ridiculous synchronicities and things going on with the topic that I decided to talk about today. And it's just kind of blowing my mind. So I'm going to share with you all of these things. So originally I was thinking that maybe a week or two ago, I was thinking, oh wow, my Positive Head anniversary is coming up. I've been working with the podcast now for almost 3 years. And I started back in October of 2016. And how I got started with Brandon has been coming up in my mind. And the original thing that I had gotten in touch with him about was the work that I do with QHHT. He had done an episode around that time about plant medicines, ayahuasca, and the like. And as I was listening to it, I thought, what a great tool. At the same time, we can get to that place with QHHT. That's exactly what it does. So I got in touch with Brandon about this, and obviously I'm here now. So there was a lot that came in between. But so I thought I'd talk about that idea of psychedelics, mind-altering substances in general, and how really they are a beautiful tool, and they come into play when we need them, and we can use them in that regard in a very sacred and ceremonial way, I think is the way to go about that. But I think that we should always consider them a tool, a stepping stone, a crutch maybe, to get to a place. The place that is always within you. The same place we get to with QHHT, quantum healing hypnosis technique. Now, if you guys have ever listened to any of the Mystic Manor episodes, you'd hear the guests talking about their experiences with their past life regressions with Mary Beth. Mary Beth is a QHHT practitioner, and I'm so excited that she's at the Manor doing sessions for people who come and visit, because these sessions are life-changing. And again, if you listen to these episodes, you'll hear the stories. So I'm thinking about this topic, right? And of course, over the past week or so, there have been some topics that have come up surrounding this in our Facebook group. So I thought, perfect, let's absolutely talk about this idea. And then I get an email yesterday from Bree. Now, Bree was on episode 1026. So Bree had actually emailed me before she attended the Manor. And the minute I got this email, I could just, my sense through the email, because I can get an energetic sense with the people I email, even though I don't know anyone actually, but I get this energetic sense. And sometimes I get a very strong sense of like, ooh, shiny light being here. And this is how I felt with Bree when I first got her first email. So, and I've only experienced that one other time. And that person was Matt Belair. If you guys have ever heard of Matt, he does an absolutely beautiful show, and I'm actually going to bring him up later because that's part of the synchronicities that happen with this episode today. So Matt was the only other person that I actually felt this really bright, just shiny being, coming through the email. And actually, what's funny, I wound up meeting Matt maybe a little while after we were emailing back and forth with the podcast. There was lots of rescheduling and things, and he was so cool about it all. And of course, I recognize his face because he does a lot with video. And I actually, after emailing him, had a random vision one day of just kind of walking into him, like being at a festival or something and being on a path and him just kind of like walking straight into me. And that actually happened a couple months later at Contact in the Desert, where I literally was walking down the path and Matt was walking directly towards me. So you can imagine my excitement. And I was like, oh my God, hello, how are you? And he responded with like, oh my God, yes, and a huge hug. And he was so sweet. And I realized he had no idea who I was. And what was so cool about it is that he gave me so much love and treated me like he's known me forever, but he had no idea. And so that's exactly the sense that I got through his email. And it was nice that was affirmed in person. So I love Matt. You guys should go check him out. But so anyway, Bree, I can feel the same thing about you, and you're freaking amazing. I went and after I got this email from Bree yesterday, you guys, I went and listened to that episode 1026. I often don't get a chance to listen to a lot of the episodes that we release. Unfortunately, I have so much going on. And, but I had to go back and hear this episode. And can you believe so many things about that episode are exactly what I was going to talk about today? So if you go and listen, the first thing Margaret talks about is going to Peru doing ayahuasca. Then Audrey comes on and starts talking about the breath work that they did and how opening it was for her and how much she opened herself to source and contacted her spirit guides. And then Brandon related that to plant medicine, and it was like taking ayahuasca to how it opens you up. And then Bree came on, and the first thing she mentions is synchronicities and intention. And then she shares the most beautiful story of the loss of her son and how she was able to release so much with the breath work that she did and how that opened up to her QHHT session that she had and how that taught her what her purpose was and the purpose of all these extremely difficult life experiences that she's had, and how now she also has an understanding of her son's greater purpose and the power that she has and the power that is within all of us. What's even better, so she goes on to mention the mantis beings. And what I love about this is that the email that Bree sent me is about the episode that Tracy was on with me where she channeled the mantis beings. And turns out that's why she resonates so much with it, is because she is one. And now I understand why I resonate so much with her, is because I resonate a lot with the mantis beings too. Interesting, huh? And I thought how interesting that this is what I was going to talk about today, plant medicines and how we can get to the same exact place with QHHT. And they also talked about the breath work that they did there that also is another great way to get in touch with your higher self, because that's what this is all about. If we're going to use a plant medicine tool, if we're going to use a meditation tool, if we're going to use a tool like QHHT, these are all tools to get to a place where our higher self can speak to us. And so the plant medicines are beautiful tools to do just that. I think it's really important that when these medicines are used, that they're used ceremonially, not in recreation. Although in my younger years, I certainly do have experience with that. And I'll tell you what, even though it was used in a recreational manner, something within me overtook that, and I needed to be in nature. So after my very first experience, I knew I didn't want to be at this party with all these people. I wanted to be out exploring nature and getting my feet in the ground and staring up at the clouds and learning from it all and being one with it all. Because that is what you experience when you take these medicines, or one of the things you can experience when you take these medicines. So in my experience, in my younger years, I haven't experienced any medicines in quite some time, 20 plus years now, but I've only done mushrooms and LSD. And the difference for me was humongous. The LSD felt way too chemically in my body, and I didn't like it at all. It also felt like it was opening me up in a way that I wasn't appreciating, because these medicines can open you. And sometimes if you're not ready for that, then energetically, that's not good for you, right? So that's why being in a ceremonial space and setting really good intentions before doing this type of thing is very, very important. The things that can happen when you don't do that is what you call a bad trip, right? So I've had one of those too. And it was at the party with all the people eating mushrooms. And, you know, what happens is we're all connected, right? And when we're all in this other space where the veil has been thinned, you feel that even more. And so one person starts having a bad trip, and now lots of people are having a bad trip. And this is what happened to me. And what I learned from this experience was, thank God my brother was there who had a lot of experience. I had a friend who just turned green, sat in a corner, just, started swaying back and forth, was not doing well. The minute I saw him, oh man, that exactly happened to me. My brother came over and he said, "Air, it's all in your head. It's all in your head, Air." And it was so clear, like light bulb moment. It is all in my head. That's exactly what's happening here. I'm in control of this. So I went and told my friend, hey, it's all in your head. And he got it too. And the reason why things are so much more clear and you can understand them is because that veil is thinned. The third eye is now open and you can see more clearly the actual reality that it's all in our head. This is all energy, all consciousness, and we control all of it with our thoughts and the power of our will. And speaking of it's all in your head, it reminds me of another synchronicity, which actually has to do with my anniversary, which is how this whole thought process began and how I first began here on the podcast with Brandon. And, it really all started, for real, all started when I kind of got hit in the head with my guidance, like, okay, this is what you need to do. So I was listening to episode 208, which is called Impossible is Nothing. And in that episode, Brandon shared a clip, an Abraham clip, where a man was talking about his wedding to his future wife and how she had this entire idea of what everything had to be. And they had everything in place except for one thing. Well, the day of the wedding, the one thing was she wanted a famous person at the wedding. She got her location and everything else, but just not that one thing. So the day of the wedding, she got her wish because it turned out that Oprah happened to be there and wanted to say hello to the bride and groom. And Oprah was also there with Clint Eastwood. So I happened to be listening to this episode while I was on vacation at the beach. And there were people who were staying in the same complex, and we had a big shared yard overlooking the ocean. And they came out and we started talking, and they started talking to me about Clint Eastwood. And I thought, that's interesting because this show talking about nothing is impossible, or impossible is nothing, is what actually pushed me to get in touch with Brandon about getting started and working on this show. Now, what's really cool about that is that when Brandon and I first got together, I was sitting at his house, we were having dinner. I was telling him and Bradley, his son, this mushroom story. And I actually sang the line of the song, because it's all in your head. And Bradley was like, whoa, I love that song. I've been singing that song since I was a kid. But that was just a really neat synchronicity there that resonated so much. Well, come to find out later, I never paid attention to what the name of this song was. It's called Clint Eastwood. What? Yeah, so this is all supposed to be, the universe is always providing when we know that everything is possible. And that brings me right back to QHHT. Nothing is impossible. Everything is possible. Possibilities are limitless and infinite, and it's all about trusting in your knowing. It's all in your head. Relax into that. Have patience with the timing, the divine timing of the universe. That is when all the possibilities open up for us. And so the interesting thing about psychedelics is, when we do these things, it opens us up and we see these other realms, and it's so intense that we have to believe, that this is an experience that is real to us, right? I mean, yes, it's hallucinogenic, but the thoughts that we have and the revelations that we have when we have these experiences are very, very real. And it's like there's a power in that that we take and say, when I was exploring behind the veil, I learned this. But here's the thing. We don't need a medicine to get us to that place. It's a beautiful tool. And what's great about it is once we've gotten to that place once, we can always go back there in our minds, because that is the power of our thought. So I love plant medicines for being able to get us to that place and opening the veil, thinning that veil so we can see the true reality of the love and the connection that we all exist in. But I also want to really stress that this power we have within us all the time, and we don't need the tool. There are instances, times in life where, yes, we need help. And so absolutely use a tool, right? But don't get stuck on the tool. There are so many people that need to do ceremony after ceremony after ceremony to get right, to get back to that place. But why? Because they're not trusting. If this is you listening to me right now, I want you to trust in yourself more. Trust in your own inner knowing. Know that you are connected. Know that you have this access all the time. You just have to trust it. If you're not trusting and not believing, it's not happening. And that's where you need the medicine. Yeah? So this is why I love QHHT so much, because it teaches us that this is with us all the time. All you guys that have had sessions, especially you guys that I'm talking about in this episode, Bree, Audrey, Margaret, you know what I'm talking about. You know what it feels like now to have that voice of your higher self speak through you. And now you're experiencing that on a regular basis, right? And you can hear that voice in your head and recognize it like, that's my higher self talking. And sometimes this process takes a little while to really get this down. Of course it does, right? If we've all been programmed into this disbelief system. This is this is the secrets that have been hidden from us for ages. For this reason, because this is where our power is, right? So we take back our power by believing that we have it and trusting that the universe, source, creator, your higher self is always with you, always talking to you, always has your back. And you have the answers to everything that you need within you. It just takes getting to that place in your mind where you believe it. Meditation is such a great tool here, such a great tool. You can go in this place every single day in meditation, and you can develop techniques in order to get you there. That's a whole nother topic. But again, back to QHHT and psychedelics, we are literally going to the same place to travel in our minds, to get answers to our biggest questions in life. Like, what is my purpose? And why am I here? And what is my guidance trying to teach me? Same thing we get with both. Another point I wanted to make about the medicine is, remember, all plant medicines have a spirit, right? That works with you. It's the plant spirit. And you don't actually need to ingest the plant to work with the spirit. All that takes is connection and belief as well. So remember when I talked about Matt Belair earlier? So it just so happens I went on Facebook and he posted a show last night with a woman named Francoise Berzat, who is a professor at California University, and I forget which one. This is an amazing interview if you guys want to go check it out. But as soon as I had this thought, I was listening to this talk of theirs, and I was making little notes about things I wanted to bring up today. And I paused it to write that note about the plant spirit. And I went back to go listen again. The next thing Matt said was the spirit. So that's definitely an important point that someone wanted to hear, someone needed to hear. There's also a really good book I'd like to recommend on plant spirit medicine. It's actually called that, by Elliot Cohen, Plant Spirit Medicine. Excellent book on working with the spirit of plants. You know, a beautiful thing that the plant medicines teach us is the wisdom of nature and just how powerful and wise and ever loving and giving nature is. And when you work with these medicines, you understand that. But you don't need to work with these medicines to understand that. Ingest them, I mean. You can get out in nature every day, sit under a tree. And this was talked about in that episode with Matt and Francois. Just getting out in nature and appreciating it and taking the time, stopping, appreciating the moment, and realizing that we're all connected, that you are in the air and in the leaves and in the grass and in the trees and in the water. It's all part of you. And if you think a medicine journey will help you get to a place of a greater understanding and a belief and a trust, then by all means, do that, right? These are great tools. But don't rely on it. Don't rely on that tool. Know that this access is within you at all times. Tools are great helpers. It's a crutch for when you need it. But eventually, you don't need that crutch anymore. You can heal, just like your body's innate capability for healing. You heal and you don't need that crutch anymore. And you do this with the power of your will because you decide. Healing happens when you decide, always, no matter what medicine you choose. You have to decide. You have to believe, and you need to trust in yourself and your own infinite power. So whatever the tools you need in your journey at the moment, utilize that tool to help you get to that goal of inner knowing, knowing your oneness, knowing your power. Utilize them in that moment as a stepping stone to get you to a place that you can always, in your mind, return back to, because it's all in your head. With that, everyone, I'm out of here for today. I'm going to leave you with a song. This one I am dedicating to Bree. This is Fia, Rising in Love. Till next time, everyone. Love you all.
And if you're feeling the call to come for a week retreat style Mystic Manor immersion, remember to go now and book your time to speak with me directly about stepping into the optimistic vortex at calendly.com/talk with Brandon while there are still spots left. Otherwise, I look forward to co-creating magic with you at the Mystic Manor.
Every inch of my body, each fiber and cell is vibrating with desire, high on life itself. I'm consciously making space, opening and allowing. I'm doing the work that's needed. I'm ready, bring it in, 'cause I know that I am worthy of it all. The wonders and the magic, all I'm dreaming of. And this is the new way, a new way of living, a world waking up. We are rising in love. Breathing deep, I feel God within and around me. The true light of my being is there for me to see. All is becoming clear. The veil is oh so thin. Everything is changing, but I'm ready, bring it in, 'cause 'cause I know that I am worthy, worthy of it all. The wonders and the magic, all I'm dreaming of. And this is the new way, a new way of living, a world waking up. We are rising in love. I know that I am worthy, worthy of it all. The wonders and the magic, all I'm dreaming of. And this is the new way, a new way of living, a world waking up. We are rising in love. And now I remember why I am here. Got nothing to lose, all is to gain. And I choose to learn from love instead of pain. I know that I am worthy, worthy of it all. The wonders and the magic, all I'm dreaming of. And this is the new way, a new way of living, a world waking up. We are rising in love. I know that I am worthy, worthy of it all. The wonders and the magic, all I'm dreaming of. And this is the new way, a new way of living, a world waking up. We are rising in love. I know that I am worthy, worthy of it all. The wonders and the magic, all I'm dreaming of. And this is the new way, a new way of living, a world waking up. We are rising in love. I know that